What's up guys, Sam here. I'm going to be bringing y'all along for a little behind the scenes of video production for music festivals. A production company that I work with frequently has me coming out to help set up the LED walls, help set up cams, and operate cams during the show. This trip ended up being about a 4-hour commute. It wasn't too bad. I enjoy traveling to surrounding cities and kind of getting a feel for what they're like and learning about them while we're there. So we arrived in Jackson, found our way back to the Cathead Jam. Cathead Distillery was putting on the event. They had some really awesome acts. We wasted very little time, went ahead and dropped the box truck, got all of our road cases out, go ahead and figured out where we were gonna put our points for the walls and just got right on it. Put a little time lapse of what that process looks like. Basically, you've got these smaller panels. As you can see, the checkered one there is every color is an individual panel. And you just piece them all together. Back at the production trailer, you're presenting all of the information that you're going to be seeing on the screens. This is our brain of the operation. All of our camera lines will be ran to the trailer, and then later in the setup, you'll see that they're presented onto the walls. So I'm going to show y'all a little bit behind the panels and what's going on. Every panel weighs about probably 50 pounds or so, but they're not too bad. They all just lock in place, and then there are power and signal jumpers that send the signal and power across each row. On the front side, this is 3mm LED, so when you get right up on it, you can see every single LED. So it's kind of neat. You don't really get to see these walls up close every day, so there you go. And when you end up getting further away, you can't tell at all. It looks like a big old flat screen. We got them both up for the day, so we get to go home, or our home for the duration of the trip, which is a usually comfortable bed with a unnecessarily thick comforter, but it makes do. We get back to the hotel, we check in, get washed up, cleaned up. Generally after a longer day, production head will bring us out to eat. And man, I'm not a steak guy, but if you have the opportunity to eat at Tico's Steakhouse, do it. It was incredible. Day 2. First day of the show, we have to get all of our cameras set up, get the walls in the air, and just tidy everything up, make sure everything's show ready. We'll pull all of our cables, get those lines ran, go ahead and get our design micros set up. These will be our stage cams. We'll set one up on both sides just to have some cutaways. This company uses all BlackMagic gear, which makes it super ideal for the video director. They can adjust pretty much all of the camera settings from inside the trailer. Everything other than focus and zooming, and of course operating the camera. But luckily the distillery had these large tanks. We were expecting some higher winds and potentially some rain later in the day. And these LED walls are practically kites. They don't have pass-through on the panels themselves, so you got to tie them down to something heavy to ensure they stay put. Go ahead and pop our breaker on for our motors and get up on the stage and get this sucker in the air. with those up, it is camera time. We went ahead and set a tripod up in front of house. Got us planted over 3 different levels, but we made it work. We've got some BlackMagic URSA Mini Pros that we're going to be using today, and a very nice, very expensive Fuji 9 lens. Got some recent focus and zoom controllers that we'll have set up. Wham bam, cue the music. We go back to the trailer just to ensure that our lines are good, we don't have any issues getting signal to and from the trailer. We run dual fiber to ensure that we've got a line to the camera that can adjust settings, and from the camera to actually send that video feed to the video walls. We go ahead and set up our designs on the stage, one static and one on a C-stand that we can kind of move around. Just to ensure we get a good shot, set it up on the drums for an act or move it around. Go ahead and bring all those lines over to our trailer, patch them in, make sure that we're getting all of our previews set up. And with everything set up, we'll send some images to our walls because it's getting close. It's getting about probably an hour and a half out before they open the gates and start letting people in. All the vendors are getting their shops set up. They're doing sound check, making sure all the speakers are tuned in. In the meantime, we went and got some food, and when I tell you this was the best pizza ever, they put honey on it. They put honey on the pizza with cream cheese and jalapenos. Ooh, man, it was good. After a quick bite, we went and hopped on cams, got everything ready. It started raining, unfortunately, so we had to throw our rain covers on. Luckily, I was under a tent. Unfortunately for the 2 other operators in the pit, they had to resort to some rain jackets. Worst part about it is with these covers on, you have limited access to everything. So to lock your tripod or change any settings, you gotta kind of just reach under there and use your memory. Everybody had to go into the distillery because it was raining. Got my shoes nice and full of water, but it didn't last too long. They ended up covering everything in front of house. They had squeegee all the water off the stage. They had to cut the power off for everything, so I believe it's the second line band ended up going out and still doing their act in front of everybody, which was nice to see. We took advantage of the lull. We had a little strip of pixels that weren't displaying correctly on one of our panels, so we went and swapped it out just to make sure that everything's looking how it should. I'll go ahead and take this moment to kind of explain a little more about these panels. Every frame hosts 4 smaller panels, so 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, and the reasoning they do that is so you can easily repair them. That way, if God forbid something happens to the panel, instead of having to swap out the entire frame, you can just take a panel out, as you just saw. But we got it displaying correctly. Everybody's filling into the arena, so we're about to start. So while filming for the arena, you kind of have to keep 2 things in mind. You are recording the performance itself, but you are more focused on the portrait image that's getting displayed on the monitor. That forces you to be really precise with your camera work. A lot of the time the artist will be moving around really quickly, especially on energetic songs, and you've gotta track them. Sometimes it's easier because you're closer to the stage. We tend to cycle cams. That way everybody can kind of get a new experience and not get too bored. By the end of the night, your feet are hurting and you're trying to stay awake. These tend to be long nights, but you get to see artists that you would have otherwise had to pay potentially hundreds of dollars to go see, and you get paid to do so. And half the time you get the best seats in the house right there under the stage, or looking into a monitor, you're getting close up on his or her face for the majority of the set. It's fun. It's a creative job. This particular director gives us quite a lot of creative control when it comes to the camera work, so we can kind of set up shots how we see fit and just kind of flow with the music, which is really enjoyable. We've got a strong team, so it's always a fun time. Here's a little behind the scenes in the production trailer. What you're seeing here is the guy on the left, which is our director, adjusting camera settings, while the guy on the right is calling cams. That guy happens to be the band Goose's video director. Sometimes you'll end up working with people outside of your group. They like iMag walls to look a certain way and the footage film to look a certain way as well. Day 3, same thing as day 2, just less setup. We dropped the walls over the night, or right before we left. Just one less thing for us to have to worry about while we're gone, because you never know, what kind of weather you're going to get in the middle of the night. Assigned us some barrels inside the distillery, and then we got to observe something kind of interesting that we weren't expecting. They brought out some pass-through, which looks like maybe like 15, 25 mil panels, which is quite a lot further apart than ours, but still excited to see how the screens look together. It looked like they set up the wall to store all of their stage props or their show props behind the stage, and then also have a graphic wall behind, which had some awesome visuals throughout the night. This act was Flaming Lips. The audio engineer ended up having an electric bike that he let us ride and just enjoy, because we were having a conversation. He was like, "Hey, you want to ride?" We will definitely take you up on that. I think it was like 30 miles an hour with very, very little assistance. After a little break, we got back on cams, and smooth sailing from here. If you've made it this far into the video, I appreciate you. You're obviously a tech nerd or in production or wish to be in production. Regardless, if you enjoyed the content and want to see more behind the scenes of live events, commercial videography or wedding videography, or really any video production, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This is my first video, but I plan on posting more and more. We've got some really fun jobs coming up in the next couple months, so you can expect a few uploads. If you have any comments, concerns, questions, leave them down in the comments section and I'll get back to everybody. If you're on the Mississippi Gulf Coast and want to connect, or in the surrounding areas and want to connect, all my social medias will be in the description. Feel free to reach out. With all that being said, that is a wrap. We're loading out, heading home. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching.